We're joined by Lucas Williamson now, and we'll begin the press conference. Use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. I'll open your line when you ask your question. Please give us your name and your affiliation. Our first question comes from Cheryl Ray Stout from WBEZ in Chicago. Cheryl, your line is open and unmute yourself to ask a question.
Hi, Lucas. We've seen you be Defensive Player of the Year, but today you turned on the offense. Was it in your mindset that that was going to be an important part of your game today?
Well, I've played in this tournament before, and I'm playing, with people that this is their first time in this tournament. So, we came out, we were a little shaky, so I knew that I wanted to step up as a leader and give my team confidence. And that's what I wanted to do early, and I just kind of had rolled the hot hand the rest of the game.
Thank you. Our next question is from John from Hoops HD, I believe. John, your line is open.
Thanks, Lucas. Great game today. I believe you have some Chicago roots. So what does it mean to you to play against the big brother in the University of Illinois in the next round?
I do have Chicago roots, but at the end of the day, this is March Madness. I'm just trying to survive and advance. Illinois is going to be a tough matchup for us. We know they're one of the best teams in the country, but ultimately I'm just focused on whoever's in front of me, and it just happens to be Illinois.
Again, use the raise hand feature to ask a question. Our next question is from Harry Schroeder. Your line is unmuted, Harry. You need to unmute yourself, Harry.
There we go. Hey, Lucas, I thought when you guys struggled early in the game, Marquise came off the bench and gave you guys a lift. It was a real momentum changer. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's what we expect from Marquise. He's one of the better players on our team. Any other team in the Valley, he's probably a starter, all-league player. So, for him to come off the bench and give us that spark, that's what we expect from him.
Thank you. Our next question is from Nick Schultz. Nick, your line is open. Please unmute yourself to ask a question.
Lucas, man, under Ben Richardson as a freshman, when you guys made the Final Four, he called you his son. Feels like you kind of grew up today, dropping 21 points to lead the way. How did that feel with your growth and development of the program and everything?
I was just, like I said earlier, I was just riding the hot hand, trying to give my team confidence. I think Ben was actually in the building today, so that was actually kind of funny.
Our next question is from Abby, and Abby, your line is open.
Hey, Lucas. I gotta ask, what was said in that timeout in the first half before you guys went on the run to take the lead? Because the game just seemed to kind of switch for you guys in that moment, and I just gotta ask what was said.
I think that's when we finally settled in, and you'll see it throughout this whole tournament. First game jitters, everybody's excited to play in March Madness. Like I said earlier, we got a lot of players on this team that don't have March Madness experience. So I was just trying to tell my teammates to just settle down, embrace the moment. At the end of the day, we're playing a game that we've been playing our entire lives. So, that's basically what we were trying to say in that timeout.
Our next question comes from Chris Sparks. Chris, your line is open.
Lucas, Chris Sparks from Rambler Radio. Congratulations on the big win. Looked like the first few minutes of the game, you guys were really kind of struggling with the zone. What did you guys do specifically to adjust to that zone? And were you surprised when they got out of it and went man-to-man?
We were trying to just hit the middle of the zone. That's the sweet spot. That's the spot that the zone doesn't like the ball to get to, because you can go either way. We were having trouble doing that in the first half. So, like I said, we finally settled in, was able to reverse the ball from side to side and hit the middle of the floor. And then after that, I think that's when they decided to make the decision to go back to man. So. But that's what they do. They switch defenses all the time, and we knew that coming in.
Thanks. Our next question is from Joey Wagner from the Illini Inquirer. Joey, your line is open. You need to unmute yourself.
Hey, Lucas, I know you talked about this just being another game, but Illinois also has a couple of guys from Chicago. Do you have any playing history with any of these guys? Or, I mean, what's it going to be like to see some of these guys in this tournament now?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Io especially, like Io, I grew up with Io. We played on the same small fry team. I know his family really well, his brother really well, his older sister really well. So yeah, and we've been competing all our lives, and it's going to be something special in the back of my head. I'm going to be thinking about it going in to play some old friends.
Our next question comes from Billy Witz, and Billy, your line is open. You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, Lucas, this is such an unusual tournament. Can you maybe just describe what the atmosphere was like, and just how, just maybe from what you've experienced before, and it's not very normal.
Yeah, I mean, it is an unusual tournament, but I will say everything is unusual about it until you get on the floor. I mean, we got some fans in the building. They were in here hyping the game up. But at the end of the day, once you're on the court, you're just playing basketball. Everything else is unusual. The protocols, the everything that's going on in the hotels, that's part of it is very unusual. But once that ball goes up, it's just basketball.
Lucas, that's our last question. Thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Yeah, got it.
We'll be joined by Coach momentarily. I'm lowering all the hands, and if you want to ask a question, please re-raise your hand. Thank you. Just a reminder to use the raise hand function on your screen to ask a question. Hey, Coach, we have several questions in the queue, but we'll start with your opening comments before we go there.
Just thought our guys had a tremendous grit to themselves, led by Lucas Williamson and Braden Norris, Ahiru Guak. They just had a grit to them. And my good friend Steve Donahue, the head coach of Penn, said to me when they found out that Morse was out with the COVID, he said, "You know what? It's not going to be easier. It's just going to be different." And that was kind of our message. It wasn't easy. It was just different. They went 5 guards right away, and it put Krutwig in some tough spots, and they were spacing and dribble driving. It wasn't any easier. It was very, very hard to guard their spacing and how athletic those guards are. But it was just different because it put Krut at some things. All week we prepared with him in there and finding out. So I thought that was a good message for our guys. Sometimes when you hear a guy's out, you take your foot off the gas pedal. And we knew it was not going to be easy. It was just going to be different.
Thanks, Coach. Our first question comes from Harry Schroeder. Harry, your line is open.
Hey, Porter, offensive rebounding was just gigantic in this game, and I know they did play smaller, but was that a special focus for you guys today? I mean, I thought it was the difference in the game.
They have so many strengths, Georgia Tech, and we said one of them we really wanted to go to the glass if they were going to go small. And Lucas went. I think Marquise got a big one here. So we were really making a point of that. If they were going to go small, we were going to try to go to the glass and get some more. And I thought our guys did a good job of that and get some extra possessions for us, with that.
Our next question comes from Cheryl from WBEZ in Chicago. Cheryl, your line is open.
Thank you. Congratulations, Porter.
Thank you, Cheryl.
How much was the poise and the experience of Lucas, which helped the other players on the team to get into focus?
It's huge. When you have a player that confident, and he was really loud. He was just, he was, when other guys feed off that. And when Lucas was a freshman, he was feeding off guys like Clayton and Dante Ingram and Ben Richardson and Marcus Towns. They were just feeding off those guys because they were like in every huddle, every timeout. They were just so noisy in terms of what we had to do. And Lucas was the same way. He was real noisy. And I know when you're vocal and you're backing it up with your effort, it equals a lot of confidence in yourself and the other guys. And so I thought Lucas's mindset, mentality, I think the guys, and I think Braden Norris was one that really fed off it, because it is the first 7 or 8 minutes, we were kind of feeling it out. They were doing something different, 5 out, dribble drive. And then Braden really settled in, I thought, when Lucas was settling in.
Our next question comes from Abby Schnabel. Abby, your line is open.
Hey, Porter, congrats on the win. I got to ask you about the fans, because I know that's something you love to talk about when we're back at a Pac Gentile, and you haven't really gotten to talk much about fans, but how was that experience?
It was so nice to see fans there, and I just got to give so many kudos to the NCAA for doing what they're doing to have this tournament and the protocols and the safety to have this, because I know that to those student athletes, that meant the world. To see that many maroon and gold scarves up there and to hear them chanting LUC, and to go over to see parents, friends, and family hanging over that balcony railing. You just went down, you just saw so much of our Loyola family up there. And, I saw my kids and my wife. My kids have not been to a game this year. They had their own games for Arch Madness. We didn't allow, so that was the first time my kids came to a game. So really cool to have everyone there to enjoy it, to really help us too. I mean, you could just hear the momentum from the crowd when things went your way.
Thanks, Coach. Our next question is from Matt Zahn. Matt, your line is now open. I think you're muted. Need to unmute yourself.
Coach, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, just you guys made, obviously Georgia Tech came out playing some great defense. What were some of the adjustments you guys were able to make and just having a veteran team kind of handle that in the NCAA tournament?
Well, we were just trying to see their slides at first. What you see on tape sometimes isn't what happens in the game. Teams make adjustments. And they were really extending their tandem, taking away. We were trying to get to the middle, but they were bringing the wings so much high. So we kind of, as we went on, we got the ball into the middle better. And when we got into the middle, we were spraying it for more threes. And we knew we were going to get some threes off it if we moved it and got to the second, third side. A couple times we came out of timeout and pounded it into Crut, but they did a nice job fronting. They're athletic, 6'6", 6'7" down there, and they were trying to front them at times. They're long in the zone, and they play it hard. And the thing about it, I said this before, what I saw on tape, is they just don't run, and I'm going to pull out my Coach Majerus reference because I always got to pull out one of his, is it wasn't your just hands-up Harry zone. It was a very aggressive, trying to get steals. You put it on the deck, they're digging and raking. They're high hands, they're looking for deflections, they're taking away passing lanes. So it's a very active zone. There's a reason why they force so many turnovers. So I think we just got settled into it. We haven't seen one like that all year. And we got settled into it, got the ball into the middle. And then you make some shots. That always helps too.
Coach, our next question is from Nancy Armour of USA Today. Nancy, your line is open.
Hey, Porter, congratulations.
Thank you.
2 questions. What did you say when you guys fell behind early? Obviously, there's a lot of the game left, but what do you say to the guys to settle them? And now that you guys are moving on, what's the message about Illinois and, whether this is the right seeding and all that?
We've been behind before this year, and it's just about, it's so early. It's about stacking good possessions and not stacking bad possessions. We just had to settle down. And, you can't look at a big lead that early and just panic. There's so many possessions. We were just talking about stacking good possessions and getting good shots. And you could see me a couple times. We missed a couple wide open shots, and I was clapping. I want them to know it's about a good possession. And that's what you tell them early, because there's a lot of possessions left in the game. But the other thing is the guys have confidence in their defense. They know if they can start getting some good possessions, we're going to make them hard to score on. They hit some very tough mid-range, we call them tough twos. They made some tough twos, some pull-ups that, you got to live with. But that's the message early. Don't stack bad possessions, just do that. And then the next question with Illinois, obviously got just an amazing amount of respect for how good they are, and they're terrific. They play hard. They play both ends, offense and defense. They're extremely well coached. So looking forward to the opportunity. Our guys compete. I'll dig into them. I was completely immersed in Georgia Tech, as I should be, but now I'm going to dive into Illinois. Being from the state, I obviously watch them, with a close eye. I grew up in Illinois, so I've watched them on the TV, and really, really good team.
Thanks, Coach. Our next question is from Chris Sparks. Chris, your line is open.
Coach, congratulations on the win. What if you could just talk a little bit about your guard line of Keith, Braden, and Lucas going up against one of the best guard lines in the ACC and just doing what they did on both ends of the floor?
You know what, Braden, they play bigger than they are, our guards. And so does Alvarado, and so does he. I told him after, I got a lot of respect for him. He is a tough competitor. Defensive player in the ACC, you can see why. He has just played the whole game just like Braden. So both those guards play bigger than they are. And DeVoe is so hard to guard because he's got a great hesitation and go move. He kind of lulls you to sleep and then he bursts by you. But I think our guards did a good job. I think Keith and we switched a lot, and there's sometimes we didn't switch, and it was good calls and they communicate. But I thought just all year long our guards have dictated the defense, dictated the tempo, and they did it again tonight. And I thought Georgia Tech was hard to guard. I mean, they spread you to where you really hard, and they can really go by you. And I got a lot of respect for how athletic those guards are, Georgia Tech.
Next question is from Matthew Scianti, and your line is open, Matthew.
Coach, just quickly on here, his physicality on the boards and what you expect out of him going up against Illinois.
Look at watching Illinois. I mean, they have some tremendous basketball players. They can play, but they're long and athletic. So he gives you that physical presence defensively. I think he's 6'7", 225. He can switch. He's a really good defender, but he has that athleticism to get rebounds above the rim, to be wall up against a bigger guard. He's been so key for us all year. He was on the all-defensive team with Lucas. But tonight he didn't have the opportunity to score much, but it didn't bother him because he played great defense. He really had one of the key baskets. We had to put him at the 5 a lot, and I thought that was one of the key adjustments of the whole game. Of when we had him at the 5, we went on a huge run because they were really trying to, with the 5 guards, trying to isolate on Krutwig and do some things with him. And when Ahir went to the 5, he was screening. He kept on speed to the screen, rolling hard. He got a roll to the basket. Braden hit him. And I thought his versatility to be able to play the 5 when he really hasn't had to do that all year was one of the key parts of winning this game.
Coach, our last question comes from Joey Wagner of the Illini Inquirer. Joey, your line is open. Unmute yourself.
Hey, Coach, I know you said you hadn't put a lot of time diving into Illinois, focused on Georgia Tech, but big picture, what's it mean for two in-state programs to see each other with a chance to go to the Sweet 16?
Well, they're one of the top teams in the country. I mean, they're the hottest team in the country. Them and Gonzaga are the hottest 2 teams in the country. Being from Illinois to have 2 ranked teams going at each other in the field of 32, it's a great basketball state. There's great coaches. There's a huge amount of passion for basketball in the state of Illinois. It's been that way for decades. I grew up there, and to see 2 ranked teams go at it to get a ticket to the Sweet 16 is great for the state. But we have a respect for them, knowing that they're one of the top, hottest teams in the country. But we've won 18 out of 19 ourselves. And I'm looking forward to the matchup. I'm looking forward to the opportunity. But it's great for basketball. You got two teams that, here in this tournament, in the final 32, trying to get to the Sweet 16.
Coach, congratulations again. Best of luck going forward. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, there will be a transcript of the coach's interview by ASAP Sports posted alongside a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at